What's up, everybody? The Bird Killer here, bringing you our results from Week 1 and our Week 2 predictions. Also, I have bad news. Our Los Angeles Rams franchise was corrupted, um, so I have to start over a franchise, and I decided I'm not going to go with the same team. I'm not going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go with the new team, and I'll reveal that as I go forward here. Um, Last week, not a good week for me. It looked like I was going to have a good week, but boy, was I wrong. I ended up 8-8. Yeah, not a good week. So Thursday night, I didn't get to pick. Obviously, the Chiefs won, so I went ahead and took a loss there. Next game, you had the Seahawks and Falcons. Right here, I'm just going to fix everything real quick, and then we'll go over each game um, afterwards. So Seahawks, Falcons, that game I lost. The Seahawks defense is exactly what I was expecting. They weren't very good. They let two receivers, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, go for huge games. But what I didn't expect was, and I should have, and I even mentioned it, was Russell Wilson. That guy is a football god. He's one of the best to ever do it. If not at the end of his career, he could end up being the best to ever do it. Um, if he didn't have Pete Carroll, the Seahawks could be multiple time champions here. Um, but yeah, the Seahawks offense actually outshot the Falcons offense and were able to get a win. Falcons defense did not look good. Seattle looked good, and they got the win. And I went 0-2. Up next, we had the Eagles at the Washington football team. I thought the Eagles would get the win, regardless of all the injuries on that offensive line. I was wrong. The it started off well for me. The Eagles jumped up 17-0, but ended up losing. Offensive line just couldn't handle that defensive line for the Washington football team. Chase Young had a good game, 1.5 sacks and a forced fumble. They got the win. Up next was the Dolphins and Patriots. I actually got a win on this one. This wasn't a very good game for either team. Cam Newton came back and got a win, but he didn't look great doing it. But nonetheless, the Patriots got a win against a lesser team. Up next, we had the Packers at the Vikings. I chose the Packers, and I ended up being right. The Vikings defense isn't what it used to be, and the Packers rolled them. Aaron Rodgers looked amazing. Devontae Adams had a huge game. So yeah, that was good to get a win there. Up next was the Colts at the Jaguars. I took the Colts, and the Jaguars got a big upset. Even though I think the Colts are definitely the better team, Jacksonville got in there and got a huge win. And the Jacksonville Jaguars will be my team for the franchise. Up next was the Bears at the Lions. I took the Lions. Looked good for me for most of the game, but here's where I took another loss. This is one of those games where Mitch Trubisky actually looked like a franchise quarterback. Got a big win for his team. Browns at Ravens. I got a win here. The Ravens made this look like it was a joke. It was not even a game. Up next was Jets at Bills. I took the Bills. I got a win here. Again, Bills just rolled them. Up next was the Raiders at the Panthers. The Raiders got a win. I did take the Raiders. This was a back and forth battle, and the Raiders got the win. Up next was the Chargers at the Bengals. I took the Bengals just because I don't like Tyrod Taylor, but that defense was able to get the win. Up next was the Bucks Saints. I went Bucks. Neither team looked great, but the Saints did enough to get the win. Up next was Cardinals at the 49ers. I went 49ers, and to my surprise, I loved it. The Cardinals were able to get the upset and get the win. Up next was the Cowboys at the Rams. I took the Rams because I'm a Ram fan, and I was right. McVay had a good game plan, and they went in and got the win. Up next was Steelers at the Giants. I took the Steelers over the Giants. I was right. They controlled the game. They got the win. Up next was Titans at the Broncos. This was a close game. I went Titans, and then I ended up being right. Ryan Tannehill is not going to be the quarterback that he has been, but he did enough to beat the Broncos, who, in my opinion, just aren't going to be a very good football team this year. So let's go ahead and advance the week and check out next week's games. So yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be our new franchise. I thought about just setting up to where the Rams were and playing from there, but the stats would all be gone. So I'm just going to start a new one for the Jaguars and go for there. So on Thursday night, you got the Bengals at the Browns. This is a division game. So I expect it to be a good game. At first, I think the Browns win by maybe 10 points. I'm going to go with the Browns. I think, again, this is just a defense that's just going to be too much for the Bengals. I think the Bengals have potential with that offense, with A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow. Bengals defense isn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. The Browns looked disastrous in week 1, so it was very hard to pick them here, just because of the way they looked against the Ravens. But let's be honest, the Ravens kind of make everybody look like that these days. So I'm going with the Browns on this game. I expect a bigger game from Baker Mayfield. Maybe Nick Chubb comes in and has a good game. So let's try and improve this record and get a win on Thursday night. Browns over the Bengals at home. Up next is the Giants at the Chicago Bears. Giants didn't look good against the Steelers, but the Steelers have an amazing defense. So do the Bears. This is a division. Well, this isn't a division game actually, but this is a good game. You have Mitch Trubisky versus Daniel Jones, both quarterbacks in that mid to lower tier. Saquon didn't do much, but I'm going to go with the Bears. I think their defense is a little bit too much, and they're going to get the win. Up next, Jaguars at Titans. Jaguars got a big win over the Colts. Titans got a win over the Broncos. Right here, I just don't see the Jaguars able to stop Derrick Henry. I think the Titans get an easy win. Up next, Panthers at the Buccaneers. This is a big game for Tom Brady and the Bucs. I expect them to have a much better game. I think the Panthers are not going to score as much against the Bucs. They're not playing the Raiders this week. They're playing the Bucs, who have a better defense. I'm going to go with Tom Brady and the Bucs. Up next is Broncos at the Steelers. I think this is a no-brainer, even though James Conner probably won't play. I don't think the Broncos have enough defensively, offensively. I don't think this is even going to be a competitive game. I think the Steelers get a win at home. Up next, we have the Rams at the Eagles. Again, I'm a Rams fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but I'm trying to be realistic here. Thinking about this game, Eagles' offensive line looked atrocious, and you have Aaron Donald coming after you. And their offense looked pretty good. So I think the Rams put too much pressure on Wentz, and the Rams get a win. Up next, you have the Falcons at the Cowboys. This is tough to go because both defenses didn't look good. Both offenses had their splashes. Falcons looked a little bit better, but the Cowboys were playing a better defense. I think this is a bounce back week for the Cowboys, and I think they get a win at home. Zeke has a big game. Up next is Lions at the Packers. Lions let go a lead and ended up losing to the Bears. Packers look great. Aaron Rodgers looked unstoppable. I'm going with the Packers at home. Up next, you have the Vikings at the Colts. Vikings defense, like I said, is not going to be the defense it was, and the Colts didn't look very good. Philip Rivers actually looked terrible. So this is a tough one for me. Marlon Mack is out. So they're going to be leaning on Himes. I'm going to go with the Colts at home. Up next, you got the Bills Dolphins. I think this is an easy pick. I think the Buffalo Bills defense is going to stymie the Dolphins and just put a whooping on them. I think it's going to be a big game for them. 49ers at Jets up next. I think the 49ers get a bounce back week against an easy team. Lev Bell is on IR. I think the 49ers get an easy win. Up next, you have the Washington football team against the Cardinals. The football team are going to put a lot of pressure on Kyler, but that's going to open up running lanes for him, and I think he's going to have a big game. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to be open. There's nobody on the football team to cover him. I think the Cardinals go 2-0. Up next is Chiefs at Chargers. I think this is going to be close at first just because of the Chargers' defense, but their offense just doesn't have enough against the Chiefs. I think Patty Mahomes and company eventually do get some big plays and they get a win. Right there, I do pick the home team, but I am going with the Chiefs. I am not going with the Chargers. I am going with the Chiefs. Up next, Ravens at the Texans. This is a little bit tougher of a game, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. They just make everybody look stupid. Up next, you have the Patriots against the Seahawks. Seahawks look great. Defense did not, but the Patriots offense didn't look that good. So in this game, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks at home. Their defense doesn't look good, but I expect Seattle to win this game with relative ease. Next, Saints Raiders. I think the Saints have a big game and beat the Raiders pretty easily. So there's my week 1 results, week 2 predictions, and the Jaguars reveal for our franchise. Hopefully it's a fun franchise, and I can't wait to get that started. Thanks for watching. Until next time, the Bird Killer is out.